RKO decided to put their two big stars, Ginger and Katharine, into a movie together, Stage Door, in roles that resemble their true careers. This is the only time they starred together, and in retrospect, it was a stroke of genius. It is a very good movie, critically acclaimed, and nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Supporting Actress. I rank this movie, and Ginger's performance, among the very best of her career. And Katharine Hepburn is great in her role. It has a great supporting cast, and the script is very good. Some movies do not have much in the way of interesting backstories. This one makes up for them, with so much going on behind the scenes. Covered in the previous video, the movie review. Up to this point in Ginger's career, she had played a fast-talking, sharp-tongued city girl several times, even a brawler, which I find funny with her 105-pound frame, but always in protection of herself and those she loved.
I said Nick Vitelli's after me, and Ned Witt.
What?
I mean it. Over at the dance, he knocked down Slug McGee and beat it with Nick's new girl.
Holy. You tell me that and you want me to put him out? After what Tommy's done for me? Huh. Not a chance.
All right, wise guy. 4 weeks from tonight, you fight for the middleweight crown. Every cent we got in the world's up for guarantee.
Well?
Well, who's going to be the heavy loser if something happens to that thick skull of yours beforehand?
Well, did Mac tell you the good news?
Now, listen,
This
Ruth.
is nothing. I'm sick and tired of your stalling. I've had enough, and I'm through.
Will you let me talk? Do you know what just happened?
Yes, you had to come in the back way to dodge a sheriff.
Mac is sitting right in a box at the Follies now with a fellow with 20 grand in his vest and all in cash, too.
I've heard that one before.
I know it sounds like an alibi, but it's the truth. Now, you can't walk out on us now. I need you. Now, Mac's coming right back after the show. Now, we're going to contact him. We'll make a front to impress him.
I wouldn't be interested, even if you hadn't given me a bum salary check.
You'll get that back before night, I'm telling you.
That doesn't do me any good now. I've spent this money already, and now I'm faced with the embarrassment
I'll
of
tell
having
you
all...
what we'll do. If you'll help us to work on this fellow, I'll give you $100 bonus as soon as we hook him.
And to think when I took this job, I thought I was working for a legitimate theatrical producer. Wait a minute, Sam. You're not going to get away with that. If you think you can take his dough and then kick him out, you're all wet.
Who do you think you're talking to?
To you, wise guy. You hooked him with a lot of phony talk, sold him the idea of putting all of his money in a turkey show, and now, like every other little cheap tin-horn crook, you want to ease him out. That's just the kind of a trick I expected from a four-flusher like you. I should have known what kind of a guy you were when you hired me to help you hook him. Well, there's the money you gave me for smiling at him and making a fuss over him. Well, you can take it and lump it. I'm through.
You're fired.
That's the nicest thing you've ever said to me. Aren't you losing your hair?
I am not.
Well, you will if you don't stop cracking.
Somebody turn that thing off. I'm tired of hearing that exit march.
Don't you think you better get used to it?
Craig's parties never start until 1. Give my regards to the cook.
Listen, you, one more crack like that and your neck will probably get tangled up in my fingers.
I'm Sir George, impossible at Thames.
Oh, Beth, get a load of Minnie the Mountaineer.
Must have been tough on your mother not having any children. That's telling them.
Hiya, Bluebeard.
Okay, just a little touch of scarlet fever.
Oh, that's fine. Maybe it'll develop to something serious.
Then you're the one that put my suit, my good suit, under the shower.
Why did you tell me the shower was working and then fix it so to fall on my head?
It fell on your head.
Oh, that's funny, isn't it? Yes, on my head, and I've still got the bump. Furthermore, if you think sawing my bed in half was a funny idea...
How about the time you put glue on my toothbrush? I asked you nicely to leave that toothbrush alone. It's a pity you can't keep your hands off things.
Keep my hands off things? What about my $2? The $2 for my laundry. You never did find that $2, did you, Mr. Ekbom? I put $2 on that table.
Well, why can't I see Chris occasionally?
Because he's my husband, and I love him.
So do I. I wrote you that before you married him.
I showed him your letter. You could have had him once. Why didn't you love him then?
Crazy, I guess.
So I'm to step aside because you've changed your mind.
I could have had him. You nursed him and he turned to you. He was sick because he'd lost me.
So that's the way you think I got him.
Ginger was very good in these kind of roles, and I guess they decided in this movie to take off the restraints and let her loose to rampage through the scenes. In the first few minutes alone, she shreds multiple people with her sharp tongue. Variety was impressed with Ginger's performance. As a sharpshooter with a snappy reply, she scores heavily. And she clearly demonstrates her ability to handle comedy with the same agility she handles her feet. In a slick role, she is surefire. While Fred and Ginger were dealing with a slight downturn in the standings, that was nothing compared to what happened to RKO's other big star, Katharine Hepburn. Katharine had exploded on the movie scene in her first movie, Bill of Divorcement, to high critical acclaim. In her third movie, Morning Glory, she won Oscar Best Actress. For her fourth movie, Little Women, she was already solo above the title, and the movie was nominated for Oscar Best Picture and was the 10th highest revenue movie of the year. In her eighth movie, Alice Adams, she was again nominated for Oscar Best Actress and the movie for Oscar Best Picture. Katharine, the greatest actress of all time, was also a notorious bitch, especially early in her career. So much so it almost ruined her career, and arguably, inevitably, cost her a Best Actress Oscar. Don't take my word for it. In her unusual and entertaining bio, where she is alternatively self-depreciating and arrogant, Katharine herself admits how poorly she treated people, expressing some regret. At this time, though, young Katharine liked to be difficult, outrageous, and burned a lot of bridges. You don't antagonize the critics. I have seen some horrendous comments back then about Hepburn in the gossip columns. Just as quickly her career crashed with a series of flops. Her 4 movies between Alice Adams and Stage Door were all big money losers. I've not seen any of these movies yet, and I would not be surprised if one or more were actually very good. After all, this is Katharine Hepburn. Some of the critical reviews were quite positive. But at this time, for whatever reason, the public was not interested in her movies. Sometimes how a movie performs at the box office has absolutely nothing to do with how good it actually is. Both The Wizard of Oz and It's a Wonderful Life lost money when they were released. Then in 1938, she and Fred were caught up in a slanderous series of articles promoted at first by the independent theater owners, the box office poison incident, covered in the Fred and Ginger documentary series. This was a real tough time for so many great stars. Both Fred and Katharine had to endure a down period, the worst of their careers. Soon enough, they left RKO. The top moneymaker poll, an inexact science, is the opinion of the movie theater managers, where the industry deals directly with the public. What happened in this time period is astounding. After 1935, Hepburn dropped off this list until 1968, and after 1937, Fred dropped off for good. Only Ginger maintained a presence on this chart for 9 of 11 years, from 1935 to 1945. By this point, their careers were going in opposite directions. Ginger's was rising, while Hepburn's was crashing. I must admit part of my attraction for this movie is RKO putting their 2 queens together, Hepburn and Rogers, in roles that so reflect their actual careers. I find the Rogers-Hepburn rivalry backstory very amusing, covered in detail in the 3rd episode of the Fred and Ginger documentary series. These two had already butted heads on several occasions, including Hepburn kicking Ginger in the shins and pouring water on her new fur from above. Originally, Ginger was to have top billing because the public loved her, but ended up splitting the top with Hepburn, billed first in the trailer, but second everywhere else. When Hepburn protested her lower billing and smaller role to RKO producer Pandro S. Berman, he told her she was lucky to have the 7th role in a star picture. Yet her protest worked, sharing top billing with Ginger and having her role now as the top movie lead. How did Ginger take this? Hard to say. Ginger quite often makes indirect statements about troubling issues in her bio. She wrote, "Kate always wanted her way and usually got it." About the screen test where Hepburn kicked Ginger in the shins, she continues, "I was surprised at her attitude about the Mary of Scotland test. She didn't have to behave as strongly towards me as she did," and concludes, "I steered clear of her not trusting what she might do if I in any way crossed her. I recognized she had little empathy for me. Ginger did not fight the change in billing. Her mother had always told her not to be difficult with the studio heads. Pick your battles carefully. I do not want to go off on a tangent, but I found it funny in both their bios Fred and Ginger like to describe themselves as tough, and in many ways they were. But they were never mean. It seems obvious Katharine intimidated Ginger, as she did so many others at this time. Ginger wrote, "The character Kate played in Stage Door was a test to me. Would I overcome her silent ridicule of me, or melt into the scenery like a chocolate bar?" I think Ginger was talking about more than the roles here. When I read Hepburn's bio, the hilariously titled Me, I was looking for the counterpoint to all Ginger wrote about Hepburn. In classic Hepburn style, she barely mentions Ginger at all. About making Stage Door, Hepburn wrote, "I had no idea until much later that in the first preview Ginger Rogers was billed over me. I don't even think that Ginger knew. At this preview so many cards came back saying, the best Katharine Hepburn picture we've seen, and she is great. I'm talking about preview cards, which would be given to the audience as they were leaving the theater to jot down their opinions. They returned me to my first position. Lucky me." This round went to Hepburn. Gail Patrick, who also starred in Stage Door, gave her totally unfiltered, blunt, and, so rare in Hollywood, on-the-record view of Ginger and Katharine, and it is harsh, so get ready for this. Kate just hated Ginger Rogers. It was pure green envy. Ginger was everything great Kate wasn't. The crews loved Ginger and hated Kate for the air she put on, and Ginger at the time was a bigger box office star than Kate. And can I add a better natural actress? I mean, she had no training, but she was so wonderful. I do a scene with Ginge. In the picture we hated one another, as my character was Adolphe Menjou's mistress, and then we tried another way. With Great Kate, every take was the same. She never took direction, and she walked around with that haughty air. Or maybe she was just a method actress, and that's the way her character was supposed to be. But at the end of the day, there was only one Oscar acting nomination, to Andrea Leeds, and boy was Great Kate ticked off. I have a theory behind Katharine's treatment of Ginger. When Ginger was getting married to Lou Ayres, her agent, Leland Hayward, showed up to accompany Ginger in the limo ride to the wedding. He told Ginger's mother, Leela, that Ginger was marrying him today. Really funny, huh? The sick thing was, Hayward was serious. During the ride, he besieged Ginger to instead drive to another county and marry him. Ginger had all kinds of these crazy stories in her life. When I read Katharine's bio, she was in a long-term relationship with Hayward. He asked Katharine to marry him, but she refused. She liked it just how it was. There are a precious few dates in Katharine's bio, so it took a while to confirm my suspicion. It was in the middle of Kate's relationship with Hayward that he asked Ginger to marry him. Did Katharine find out? Is that why she was always angry with Ginger? Just a theory. The movie is about the tenants of the Footlight Club, a ladies' theatrical boarding house. It opens to chaos, with Ginger on a rampage. Her roommate, Gail Patrick, has taken her last pair of stockings, and Ginger wants them back. We get to see how aggressive Ginger's character can be, telling the much larger Patrick she would slap her ears flat against the back of her head. Katharine walks in, and for Ginger, it's just a nice new target for her routine.
How many doors are there to this place?
Well, there's the trap door, the humidor, and the cuspidor. How many doors would you like?
I only asked a civil question.
Katharine goes to arrange her accommodations, as she calls it, and when she asks for a room with a private bath, the girls erupt in laughter. But when she pulls out a $50 bill, they are all stunned.
If you young ladies will pardon me, I shall take the Wolfhounds for a stroll through the park.
Lucille Ball asks Ginger to go on a double date with her lumberjack friends, and asks her to please not be so insulting to them this time. The maintenance man brings all these large trunks into Ginger's room.
Jean, this is your new roommate. Miss Randall, Miss Maitland.
We've met before, after a fashion.
Quite sure you'll get on very well together.
Oh, I'm sure of that.
We could leave the trunks here and sleep in the hall. There's no use crowding the trunks.
I don't know what we're going to do when the wolfhounds arrive. I hope you don't mind animals.
Oh, not at all. I roomed with a great many of them before.
Yes, I can see that.
Fresh kill?
Yes, I trapped them myself.
Are these trunks full of bodies?
Just those, but I don't intend to unpack them.
Well, I was just thinking if the room got too crowded, we could live in the trunks.
Yes, that's a good idea. You don't mind helping me unpack. Oh, I beg your pardon. You're not the maid, are you?
Oh, that's quite all right. What a lovely dress. Whipped up at home by loving hands. Huh?
Every stitch.
Oh, a friend of the family?
Happens to be my grandfather.
Grandfather? Well, there is quite a family resemblance, especially around the whiskers. I suppose if you'd had your choice, you'd picked a much younger grandfather.
I see that in addition to your other charms, you have that insolence generated by an inferior upbringing.
Fancy clothes, fancy language, and everything.
And I use the right knife and fork. I hope you don't mind.
All you need is the knife.
Do you mind if I hang these things here? Temporarily, of course. I must take my bath.
That might help.
And remember, half the wardrobe is yours. And if anything of mine should get in the way, well, just toss it out the window.
Well, did you ever dance with one of those Seattle Romeos? Only jump on you, but they bore you to death. Another 1,000 years or so, the whole state will be practically bald. What am I telling you all this for?
Oh, why not? We're going to share the same room. Why not share our troubles?
Started off on the wrong foot. Let's stay that way.
Don't you ever get tired of quarreling?
What's the matter? Can't you take it?
Oh, yes, I can take it if you want it that way. Don't those blinking lights keep you awake?
Yeah, well, if you lie there and try to outblink them. We usually use these.
What do I do with this? Put it over my eyes?
No, you swallow it with a glass of water.
Besides, I've always longed to live in an atmosphere like this.
I bet you haven't seen atmosphere. Wait till about 5 o'clock in the morning when those garbage trucks start around. Say, am I getting good or are you getting weak?
No, that just struck me as funny. You wouldn't sell out for a wardrobe.
Oh, it's all right for you to talk. You've got yours. Linda isn't doing so bad either.
Linda? Oh, the other girl you fight with.
Yeah, one of them. I don't know. Maybe you two girls have got the right idea.
What idea is that?
Stop kidding.
Oh, you mean having a grandfather?
Well, call him whatever you like.
You're not really running around with that man Powell, are you?
Why not?
Well, why play with fire just to spite Linda?
I can take care of myself. Besides, if I don't go out with him, I'll probably lose my job, and so will Ann, and I'll be right back where I started from.
Oh, now that's a rather lame excuse. You got along somehow before, didn't you?
I'm sick of getting along somehow.
Why don't you stick to your ideals? They're rather crude, but they're all right.
You should talk.
For heaven's sakes, don't bring up that grandfather thing again. Anything but that.
Besides, it's none of your business.
That's a very beautiful ermine jacket you have on, remarkably similar to one of mine.
Oh, I didn't expect you back so soon. No, don't think I intended to borrow it or anything. I just wanted to see how I'd feel in one of these things.
Do you feel very different?
I'll say.
Well, why don't you wear it?
Do you mean it? Oh. You know, you're funny. In some ways, you're not such a bad egg.
As eggs go, I probably have my points.
Ginger finally ends up in the spider's web, Menju doing his usual routine. But Ginger is so nervous she gets totally drunk and then has a crying jag, and Menju sends her home.
The view was wonderful. The supper was wonderful.
Do you know your own name?
It's going to be in letters that big. No, that big. You're
and
wonderful.
I'm wonderful, too.
You
now,
are
come on,
very
let me help you
wonderful.
take off your things.
Well, we're all going to go to the wedding. I feel terrible.
But isn't it wonderful? And tomorrow you're going to have a wonderful hangover, and that won't be so wonderful.
Wonderful, it's wonderful.
Patrick warns Ginger she is about to be dumped. Catherine's father has bought the lead in the new play for her, but she is unaware. She defends Ginger until Ginger storms in, and then acts to release Menju's grip on Ginger, at the expense of their blossoming friendship.
So's Jean Maitland.
What's she got to
Are
do
you
with
in
it?
love with her?
No.
I thought so.
She's just a little girl in whom I took an interest.
Oh.
As a matter of fact, she's becoming more or less of a pet.
Thanks to Patrick's warning, Ginger knows something is wrong and storms into Menju's apartment. Seizing the opportunity, Katharine throws herself on the floor as if she and Menju had been being romantic.
Yes, you better hide your face, you double-dealing, double-crossing...
Darling, I didn't know what I was doing.
Well, you can take your old Red Fox cape. I'll never borrow another thing again from you as long as I live. And don't try to borrow anything from me.
Well, for several reasons. In the first place, I like her.
You mean you jeopardize your own reputation?
Opening night, and sweet Andrea Leeds, who both Ginger and Katharine love, wishes Katharine luck. Then Leeds, who is sick, goes up the stairs, hallucinating to previous applause, and jumps to her death. Ginger blames Katharine for taking Leeds' part. Katharine is also devastated. Leeds was sweet to all. For all of them, it must go on, because Leeds wished for this.
He is responsible. It was Kay's part. It was Kay's life. But now it's too late. Kay is dead. I'm going to go sit out front because Kay asked me to be there. Kay, who's lying in a morgue, all broken and alone. I dare you to go on tonight.
The play is a hit, but Katharine is so overwhelmed she cannot even get off the floor. Pushed to give her stage speech afterwards, she gives one they could hardly expect, or even understand. But the ladies of the Footlight Club understand. These two face off again, far different than the last time.
Don't try to say anything. We'll go to her.
Katharine is supposed to do all the opening night activities, but Katharine and Ginger walk out. Tonight, the rich and powerful do not get their way. Tonight is for the ladies of the Footlight Club. Katharine is a huge success, yet still lives at the Footlight Club, where the girls love to clown around. Katharine and Ginger are close now. Please like and subscribe.